Hi, I'm Howard. I'm an instructor trainer, so I help people just like you to become fully qualified driving instructors. I'm an audit trainer, and a question I get asked a lot about from my students is whether or not they should go on a trainee license or pink license. So we're going to have a look at that today. We're going to cover some of the pros and cons about it, and I'm going to give you some top tips to help you, so if you do decide to go onto a trainee license, to get the very best out of it, to make sure you pass the Part 3 test on your first attempt. No messing about. So the first question we want to ask is, do you qualify? Do you qualify for a pink license? Well, to get the pink license, you need to apply to it from the DVSA, and you must have passed your Part 2 driving test, and you must have completed at least 40 hours of instructor training, i.e. Part 3 training, with an ADI or an instructor trainer, preferably an audit trainer. Okay, to do that you'll have to fill out some forms. So briefly, let's have a little look at these. So they're pink forms. You can do this online, and basically you need to fill them out and prove that you've done your 40 hours, etc. But let's cover that on. I'll put some close-ups of these forms, and I'll talk you through each form on the video, so you just sort of know what you're doing, and just give you a brief overview of that. We'll do that now. Okay, so to apply for your pink license, you'll need to complete the ADI 3L form. Best still, go online, and you can do that much quicker. It'll take you about 30 minutes to apply, and this is where you'll pay your fee of £140. The license lasts 6 months, and you'll need to include your start date. Next, the DVSA will require proof that you've completed your 40 hours of training, so you'll have to complete the ADI 21T form and get that sent off. So along with that form, you'll also need to send off the ADI 3L form. So complete that and hand that to the driving school that you wish to join, because they're signing that to say they're going to support you on your pink license, so they'll be providing the additional training or the supervision. So once you've applied online and sent off the 2 forms that we've just spoke about, you'll get your pink license. On applying for your pink license, you would have already made the decision whether you're going to go for supervision or additional training. So whichever choice you make, you'll need to prove that you've done that. So there's the ADI 21AT form, which will record the additional 20 hours that you've done. So you and your trainer will complete that, and then you'll need to send that off to the DVSA within 3 months. Or there's the supervision route, which you will keep a log just to prove that you are having supervision during your lessons. So to answer the big question is, should you or should you not go for it? In my opinion, yes. 100% yes, go for it. Why? Well, to teach people is a skill that will require practice. Just like driving, if you think back to when you learnt to drive, the only way you got better at it is by more practice and driving, isn't it? So to learn to drive, you have to drive, hence taking lessons, getting practice. And the same applies for teaching. To really effectively to learn to teach, you need to get out there and teach, practice, because teaching is a doing skill, and no matter how many books you read or videos you watch like this, there is no substitute for getting out there and doing it, because that's where the learning will take place. You will build experience, and you will learn from that experience and become a better driving instructor. So the pink license, the trainee license, gives the perfect opportunity for you as the trainee instructor to get out there and get access to learners and get practice in and really master your skill, ready to take your Part 3 test. They issue the pink license, trainee license, for a 6-month period, so you've got 6 months to get out there and apply your skills and go past the test. There's a high risk strategy that you think, oh, I don't really want to do that. So if it's just not for you and not a viable option, then to help you pass your Part 3, what you want to be doing is you still need to practice. So you're going to have to ask friends, family, and get out with them. Often they'll be full license holders, unless you're lucky enough to have access to a learner in your family, like a cousin or anyone in your family that needs to learn to drive. But more often than not, you'll have to look at a full license holder and get out with them and practice. Teach them things. Think about when you went through your part 2 test, all the things that you had to pick up and learn. It may have felt like you were going back to being a learner again, like, you know, because some of the things have changed, like the gear changes. You might have run down all the gears and done sequential gear changes, and then it was introduced the block changes, selective gears, and then that was a kind of a thing you had to learn about. Or you might have been learning about eco driving, and or just your following distances, because you found yourself that you just got into bad habits of driving too close or running slightly over the speed limit. All those things that come up in your part 2, most drivers, full license holders, will have fallen into those habits. So you think about those things, and they could be good areas for you to go out and practice and work on those to help them. But also, why not buddy up with another PDI and share your learning that way? So you'll be working with a trainer. They will have access to other people in your situation who have passed their part 2, working on part 3. So why don't you buddy up with other people in the same boat as you and go out and practice with them? Maybe using role play, that might be an effective way, because you'll both have an idea of seeing role play in use, and you could help each other get that practice that you need. You could simulate faults for each other, or teach someone from scratch how to move off and stop. They'll understand it a little bit better, and maybe, you know, be able to play that role a little bit better than a full license holder, because they've seen their trainer do it and they can help. So buddy up would be a good way of doing that. So you can look at that. So let's look at going on the pink license and discuss the benefits of that. So the big benefit is that you'll get access to learners. I mean, that's why you're doing it. You want to get access to learners, get out there and start practicing and applying your skills and improve to help you in preparation for your part 3 test. So that's the big benefit. If you're not on a pink license, you're going to struggle to get access to real learners. Another big thing you're going to get is time to practice your new skill. I always think of it, imagine you are learning to play an instrument. So you can't play an instrument now, and you want to learn to do this. You go to a teacher. Let's say you're learning to play the piano. So you go to a piano teacher, and you go there for a couple of hours a week every Wednesday night. And in 6 months, your goal is to be able to perform and play that piano to a standard that people would pay to watch you. So you're going to have to be good at it. Okay, so you could go and do your weekly lessons with your teacher, your tutor, and learn it that way. What the pink license does is give you the time to do that. So imagine if they said, well, do you know what, you can have the piano, or go, you go and buy one, you source your own piano, and not only that, you can give up your job to practice. So you can practice this all day, work on it like 6-8 hours a day, and get really good at it. After that period of time, after the 6 months, who's going to be better at playing the piano? The person that went for a 2-hour lesson each week, or the person that just spent their whole time working on it and developing that skill, practicing? I think we all know who's going to reach the highest standard. So you give yourself a massive boost. You boost your chances of passing the part 3 test just by having that time and opportunity to practice and practice and practice. So that's a really big one. So the other thing is you can focus, because if you're trying to do your main job and your instructor training at the same time, it's hard to focus on it, because you've got your job, you're worried with your job, they're always going to be asking you to do things, putting you under pressure, stress, asking you to come in on your days off, and all that stuff that goes on. And if you go on a training license, you can just focus on becoming a driving instructor. You've come this far, you've passed your part 1, your part 2, and now you can just think, right, you know, I really apply myself to part 3 and nail it. So that's a really good plus. So not only have you got the extra time, you've got the access to the learners, but now you can really just channel all your attention to getting good at it. And that is a really big benefit of going on the trainee license. Yeah, the other big thing is that you can earn. So you will be earning money while you do it. But I do need to stress that don't go on the trainee license to think, all right, yeah, I'm doing this to earn money, because your priority should be to learn, not to earn. So you are doing it to learn, but the benefit of that is your learners are going to pay you whilst you're learning. So they are going to expect the highest standard, aren't they? They're going to want as good a standard as anyone else. So you've got to put in the preparation and the work to make sure you don't let them down. Give a good lesson to every pupil. Other benefit of going on a trainee license is additional training. So when you apply, you've got a choice. You can apply for an additional 20 hours of training with your trainer, or you can have 20% of your lessons supervised. I think the best option to go for is the additional training. So you can use that as you wish. What I do with my trainees, well, use a mixture of things. We might just meet up and have a coffee and discuss experiences on how they're getting on with their real learners. We might have a role play session similar to what we've done in the 40 hours previous, where we're just revising on topics. So let's say they've got in a muddle with a bay park and it's not quite going right and they've forgotten something, or they just need some clarification on something. We can go through that and do some role play. I might even suggest I jump in the back of a real lesson with one of their pupils, and observe them at work and making sure that they're delivering the lesson to the competencies, and then we can give them feedback at the end, not in front of the pupil. We'd go away and we'd meet up and have a chat about how they're getting on there. And also that's really good for the pupil, because let's say you're getting near to when your part 3 test is, you hopefully would have identified a pupil that you get on with and that you like working with. Well, if you get your trainer to jump in on that lesson, that'll help your learner sort of get used to having someone in the back. Because when you go for your part 3 test, often we plan it to so much degree, we think about all the things that might happen and what we need to do in the lesson, but what often isn't planned is how the learner will react to having someone from the DVSA sat in the back. That might be a bit nerve-wracking for them, and they might sort of act differently, which is the last thing you want on your part 3 test. So by having your trainer jump in and expose them to that observational type of lesson where someone is just watching in the back, then that's sort of going to help them. So when you take them to the part 3 and they've got an examiner in the back, they'll be like, oh yeah, I've done that before, I'm kind of used to that and it doesn't really bother me anymore. Likewise, if it did bother a pupil, then you think, actually, maybe do I want to use that pupil for my part 3? If they go to pieces with someone in the back, and don't get me wrong, the examiner will do his best to put them at ease and reassure them that he's not there to watch them, and your trainer would do the same with them, just to put the learner at ease, because they're not the one being assessed, it's you. So that's a really good thing that you can look at, getting the additional 20 hours. Yeah. First. So yeah, the cons. So we should really, in the interest of balance, we've talked about the advantages of taking the trainee license. So let's look at some of the disadvantages. Now I understand it's a big decision to make, especially if you're in a full-time job and you've got commitments, family commitments, all that. To leave that is risky. I get that. So I get that. It's a big risk. You've got to do that. You're going to be leaving your job. you'll be joining a driving school, so there'll be some kind of agreement, some franchise agreement. You'll be committing to a car that might be included in the franchise, or you might be sourcing your own car. So there's a lot to think about and a lot of risk. If you are going into a franchise, know what you're going into, read the agreement, meet with the driving school. I'd suggest go with a local driving school, because then you can meet them. It's a bit difficult with the nationals, you know, they often just tell you what you want to hear. And you want to make sure that if you're going to do it, you're going to get, you know, in that franchise, the one thing you really want is access to learners. Are they going to find you enough learners? So really make sure about that, because that's key, isn't it? You need access to learners. Have a look at other things in the small print. You know, are you going to be tied in? Do you not want to be tied in? Is your plan that when you pass your part 3 that you want to go independent? So just look at that. Look at how long you'll be tied in. Are there any additional fees? You know, deposits, things like that. Just be aware. Have full information before you commit, because often there will be some kind of agreement, some contract that you'll sign with a driving school. Because obviously at the end of the day, they're going to support you and take you on. So, you know, just make sure you know exactly what the deal is and that you're happy with that deal. Ask questions, meet with people, and if you've got a good feeling about it, if it feels right, then it probably is, and if it feels wrong, then it probably is a wrong thing to do. So it just has to be right for you. Choose the right driving school and get a deal that you are happy with. But yeah, think about it, because you've come this far, you passed your part 1, you've passed your part 2, you're on the last straight now, or with the last bit now with your part 3. So, you know, if you're not quite sure if this is the job for you, then maybe don't go on a pink license, because you don't want to jack in your job. You know, see it through, see if you can pass without going on a trainee license, and then you can make that decision at the end, you know. But I would advise, you know, if you've got the feeling, you've got the bug and you love doing it, then just commit. Just chuck yourself into it and do it. Believe in yourself, believe that you're going to pass. At the end of the day, if you put in the hard work and listen to your trainer and the advice that you're being given, then you will pass this test. You know, go on and just believe in yourself that you can do it. It is hard work. It just isn't easy. I do want to emphasize that. You will have to put in the hours. You'll have to really think about each lesson, what you're doing. Okay, so you've decided you're going on a trainee license, and I just want to share with you some top tips to help you get the very best of it. As you know, the trainee license lasts just 6 months, and they won't extend that. The DVSA do not extend that unless there's exceptional circumstances. So if anyone's told you, oh, don't worry, if you need more time, just extend it, it's not true. They do not do that. Okay, so yes, and some top tips. Plan each lesson as if it's your part 3. So spend some time before it planning it. Think about your route. Think about what topics and lesson themes will be included in that lesson. Think about some of the problems that may come up. You'll know your pupil by now, so you know what they're capable of, what they're not capable of. You can anticipate some of the problems and put in some contingency plans. Structure your lesson, break it down into little sections, and think about the risks that will come up in each little section, and like I say, how you'll overcome that. So put in some time to plan your lesson. Then go deliver your lesson. Deliver it against 17 competencies. Work on that, make it habit. Keep thinking of the 17 competencies and it will start to become habit. Then at the end of the lesson, leave some time to reflect. Because we talk about reflection with your pupils, getting them to reflect on their lesson, but make sure you make time to reflect on you and how you did. Think about what you did well, what didn't go so well, what are your areas of development, what opportunities did you have to improve. and spend some time thinking about it, because then you can feed that back into the next lesson. You can think, oh yeah, last time I did the emergency stop, that wasn't so good, I forgot to do this, I really must need to remember to do that. Or the area wasn't suitable, or whatever. You turned up to do it near a school at 3 o'clock and you thought, oh, it's really busy now. So all those things you reflect, and then you go forwards and put it into your plan for next time. So next time you deliver that lesson with another pupil, you're getting better at it. So look to improve yourself all the time, and yeah, plan it, deliver it, and spend some time reflecting. So that kind of leads on to my next point, is don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. Remember, you're not doing it to earn a lot of money while you're on the pink. You're doing it to learn. So I would suggest delivering 2 to 3 lessons per day. Normally lessons are 2 hours, so about 6 hours a day, and leave gaps in between the lessons. I would suggest leave an hour, just so you can think, right, what happened on that last one, and now think about the next one, so you're not rushing around into things. That will happen when you're an ADI, because you'll be efficient at this, and you can sort of do that. You can sort of, you know, you'll be proficient at it, so you can have more or less time in between lessons. So yeah, so don't overdo it. 2 or 3 lessons a day, and just allow that time for planning, reflection. What else do we need to talk about? Top tips. Yeah, book your test within the first 12 weeks. So the day you get your pink license and you start, book your test, because sometimes, I don't know what the test wait time is in your area. Sometimes the tests can be quite a long wait for part 2s and 3s. So get it booked as soon as you start on your pink license, so you can plan for it. Aim for about 12 weeks time, so 3 months. So you've got a date in the diary and you work towards that. Don't leave everything to the end. Don't sort of wait till month 5, because you're going to expire in 6 months. You won't be able to continue after 6 months on a trainee license. So while you've got the access to those pupils, get it booked in, get it done earlier. So if in the event that you don't pass first time, then you've got another 3 months to think, right, spend a bit more time reflecting and training, improving, and rebook. So you've got time. Don't leave it right to the ends. That would be my one of my top tips, yeah, to do that. And on the day, this is really good. If you're doing all those things on the day of your test, enjoy it. Enjoy it. Have fun. It's a normal driving lesson. It shouldn't. You don't treat it like anything different. Like, oh my god, I got my test. It's different. It will be a normal driving lesson with your pupil. The only thing that's maybe different about it is it's an hour lesson instead of a 2-hour lesson. So I observed a lesson, a test, not long ago. I mentioned her name, Dawn. She passed. Now, when they went out of the test centre, her and her pupil, they drove past because I was going to go and get a cup of tea. And as they drive past, I just see these 2 smiling faces coming towards me. I'm thinking, that's a good sign, isn't it? So anyway, they went and did their lesson. Hour later, I'm back at the test centre. They drive back into the test centre, still smiling. They pull up. They spend about 5 minutes in the car doing the little the reflection. And then the examiner appears out of the car, smiling. I approach the car. I say hello to Dawn. How did it go? She's still smiling. She's going, yeah, it went really well. It all went to plan. I can't think of anything I could have done any better. Spoke to the pupil. She was really happy, smiling. They had just had fun. It was a fun lesson, and you could really tell there was an energy in the car. You know, they enjoyed it like a normal lesson. Now, Dawn had put loads of work into this, put in the hard slog, hours of dedication and working with it, and went and did that test, and she delivered it like a normal lesson. It didn't feel any different for her, and of course she went on to pass, got really good feedback, and that that in itself is so satisfying to see someone who's worked so hard, put in the effort to get the reward that she deserved, and the fact that it was fun, just, well, that's the icing on the cake, you know, because it wasn't something she was, I mean, she was dreading it, she was, you know, she was nervous and all that, but when the day come, delivered. I mean, and that's really good. That's how you want to think about it. Just go and have fun, do what you're normally doing, because if you're doing that, it's easy then, isn't it? You haven't got to think, oh, I've got to do this, got to do that because it's my test. Well, you should have been doing that before. That's what you want to do. Deliver each lesson like it's your test, so then you don't break a sweat when it comes to the real thing. And that's my top tips. So all it needs me to say is, again, thank you for watching. Thanks for taking the time to support me on my YouTube channel. Please like, if you did, subscribe, and that way you can see more content coming through, because I'm looking to put more content on, and request what you like. You know, I'm getting a lot of requests at the minute for part 2, so let me know what sort of things you want me to cover, and I'm happy to do that. And all that's left to say now is, again, you know, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. You know, do you really want to go on a trainee license? It would be a good way of testing the water, but then, you know, if you've left your job, that's not going to be so good, is it? You've left your job. So this is bad. I'm going to cut all this bit out. This is a valuable part of getting the part, helping you get the part 3. I'm just waffling here. This is not good. It was better last time. I'm going to do that bit again. Are you going out? On how to pass the part 3 first time. Do that again.